A new rumor claims that Marvel is indeed making a fifth Thor film, but they will not be doing it with director Taika Waititi, who directed the two most recent Thor films, Thor Ragnarok and Thor Love and Thunder. Allegedly, they are seeking a new director. Let's get into this here. This rumor comes from scooper Daniel RPK and was shared to the Thor Updates account on X. It says Thor 5 is officially in development at Marvel Studios. Marvel is currently searching for a new director to helm the film, meaning Taika Waititi will not return. So it looks like they are moving on from Taika Waititi. Interestingly enough, this comes in the wake of him struggling to figure out how to do his Star Wars movie. And it looks like Taika Waititi might be persona non grata now in Hollywood, at least at the Walt Disney Company, given the, I think, poor reception of Thor, Love, and Thunder. So we'll see what happens here. Interestingly, he did have some comments about where they could go with the future of Thor for the book Thor, Love, and Thunder, the official movie special book. This is what he said. In that book, he said, what is left to do with him? It's got to be something that feels like it's carrying on with the evolution of the character, but still in a very fun way and still giving him things to come up against that feel like they're building on the obstacles that he has to overcome. I don't think we can have a villain that's weaker than Hela. I feel like we need to step up from there and add a villain that's somehow more formidable. He went on to say that he didn't name any specific threats who he felt could fill the role. He would go on to note that Thor's character is strongly rooted in, quote, the mythology that he originates from, and as such could face, quote, more and more outlandish and crazy beasts, monsters, and aliens. And then he concluded his thoughts saying, so there's a fun element to him, and he has a casualness and he sort of swagger about him when he visits these worlds and encounters these aliens that I don't think you'd get when it's an Earthling traveling through space, exploring the universe. So, interestingly enough, we also had these comments from Chris Hemsworth when he did an appearance on the Happy, Sad, Confused podcast last year. He said, he was asked, where do you go with Thor at this point? And Hemsworth said, I think you look at Thor and Thor the Dark World, and they were quite similar. Ragnarok, Love, and Thunder is similar. I think it's about reinventing him. I think I've had such a unique opportunity with Infinity War and Endgame to do very drastic things with the character. I enjoy that, I like keeping people on their toes. It keeps me invested. I've said this before, but when it becomes too familiar, I think there's a risk in getting lazy because then you go, hey, I know what I'm doing. So I don't know. He concluded his answer. I mean, I don't even know if I'm invited back, but if I was, I think it would have to be a drastically different version in tone, in everything, just for my own sanity. I think you could easily do a Thor movie where he's no longer the fish out of water. Maybe do a King Thor kind of film where he actually is ruling his people. He's making tough decisions. He's guiding them in the right direction, and maybe he's having to go up against some kind of threat that is threatening his people. He has to make tough decisions. He has to weigh certain ethical things that you really kind of. I would really go after how they ended the first Thor film, where he had to learn how to be a good king and make good decisions. And he was talking about how he still needed to learn things from Odin, and maybe it's like that. That's kind of where you go at. That is the actual problem, is where he's having to deal with making these harsh decisions, where it's like, hey, do I send my people here to fight this battle, even though they to protect these people, or something like that, where you're dealing with kind of like that moral issues that involve strategic battle decisions when you're involved in war. And I think that could be a really interesting concept to Thor, where you really do kind of a war movie with Thor. And I think that could be something that they could really do. But I'll leave it to you. What do you make of this latest rumor that they are doing another Thor film without director Taika Waititi? And what would you like to see from a new Thor movie?
Subscribe for more.